Hi, Lovejoy. I'm Bender Supreme, aka Lovemonger, with another 5 minutes of love because the world needs it more and more as we explore this wild 20s decade. So, last month we were reading from Seductress, and it was a good month of February. Thank you to everyone who listened and enjoyed those videos. But a few things happened in the last 48 hours. March has been an interesting transition out of Black History Month into there's Women's History Month this month, but some people it's just that all the time. Anyways, I had some interesting things happen on Twitter, and I just realized that maybe I should read from this book, Gigolos: The Secret Lives of Men Who Service Women. Uh, yeah, yeah, because they exist. They've always existed, and yeah, there's not any realm of reality where it's primarily dominated by one person. We most actual human activities and phenomena we share levels of experience with it, and yeah, even childbirth. Like no human can completely conceive entirely upon their own. You know, it's an interactive thing. So, anyways, let us continue and let's get into Gigolo. This is dope. This book is good. It's a little old. It's written in the '90s. I gotta put that out there. It was written in the '90s, and 1994, copyright 1994. But it's mostly pretty timeless information. All right, let's go. The Gigolo in the '90s, seeking out the invisible man. Look in the personal section of any alternative newspaper anywhere in the country and you'll see them. They're different from the usual boy seeks girl ad. You can spot them by the code language and format. For instance, the ad usually stresses that the man is young and attractive. He may describe himself as virile or masculine and make some allusion to his interest in pleasing a woman sexually. Nothing wrong with that. The ad often mentions that he is discreet. The tip off is that the advertiser does not specify the qualities he seeks in a woman. Her age may be 35 to 60, her marital status and race are not important. Her appearance is never mentioned at all. Generally, he only requires that she be financially secure or generous. When you see an ad that more or less matches this description, it's a good bet that the advertiser is a man who services women for money. In researching this book, the authors answered ads like this in several major cities across the country. They also placed their own ads seeking paid escorts for research in connection with the publication. What astonished them was the number of men who called wanting to know to get into the gigolo business. Haha. It's hard work to get, but if you get it, it's dream work. Mostly. Sometimes it's a nightmare. But that's all things in life. I digress. In addition, this job is addicting. I know. But in addition, they contacted people referred by the interviewees. They had no difficulty locating men in the business of servicing women. Almost half were willing to be interviewed, but only if their anonymity were assured. More difficult was finding women to talk about their experiences with these men. Note that. I'm just going to repeat it for emphasis' sake. More difficult was finding women to talk about their experiences with these men. Even with a promise of anonymity, few women were willing to be interviewed. The people who place ads and answer them are undoubtedly just the tip of the iceberg. There's no telling how many men today are in relationships with women that, though informal, technically would qualify them as kept men. Since there are no studies available, anecdotal evidence must suffice. To that end, the authors have done informal polling on their own, chatting with people on their perceptions about the topic, gigolos. What they learned was intriguing. For instance, women as a group were rarely surprised at the idea of gigolos being around today. Many of them had a story to tell on their own. One woman exclaimed, "Why, I know 3 gigolos. I'm 60 years old, so I understand what that word means." She's a good one. Another woman stated matter of factly, "My brother's a gigolo. He's 36 and he's never worked in his life. He always picks women who support him. He finally married one, a lawyer. Another woman who was independently wealthy said that she had supported a man who she considered essentially a gigolo. And for several years, she did this. He fit the picture perfectly. He claimed to be of noble descent, was very smooth and charming, and was an elegant dresser. And of course, he had no money. All right, one more paragraph, and then we're done for the day. But if you want more, I can give more. If y'all feel on this book, another woman told this story. My husband and I used to vacation in the Caribbean a lot. After a few days at the resort, we would notice each batch of new tourists as they arrived. Often at dinner, we would see one or two women who had just checked in that afternoon already seated with a gorgeous native hunk. These guys were with them for their whole vacations. We'd see them going together to all the sites and all the activities. We wondered how they met these fellas so fast. And then someone told us that they were paid escorts. It's a good life. It's a good time. It's a good job. But, it's not for everybody. Like all work. Anyways, from Gigolo, the authors are Dane Taylor and Antonia Newton West. Thank you very much. And yeah, if you want more read to you, we can do that. All right. Love and light to you in your days. Until our next touch. Peace and love.